explain that Islam is not just religion; it is a way of life. So, meaning of Islam: the word Islam means submission to God. Therefore, people who follow the Islamic faith must put aside their own desires and live according to what the Quran teaches. Islam is not just a religion separate from the daily life, but it is a part of daily life. So one of the Islamic culture is that the one God Allah custom of prayer at home during travel and in the mosque. Muslims believe that one God called Allah in Arabic is the creator of all mankind and that the God of the all Abrahamic religions is the same God. Muslims think Islam is Judaism and Christianity continuation and culmination. 5 times a day, Muslims are required to pray, and in order to strengthen community bonds, men are encouraged to pray in mosques instead of at home, while women are granted in a special concession if they want to pray at home because of their family responsibilities. It's not permissible to talk or pay attention to the environment except in the emergency. Okay, the second Islamic culture is dietary restriction. In Islam, pork and its component and alcohol are forbidden. They cannot eat it. Muslims eat halal meat, which is a meat that is slaughtered and blessed with name of God, in the Islamic way. The use of alcohol for medicinal purposes in products is allowed. Wearing hijab. Islam requires Muslims to have modest clothes. It is a symbol of devotion and dedication to religion to wear a hijab, hair covering. It is compulsory in some nations, but in others it is considered. The fourth is emergency treatment. Most Muslims, especially Muslim women, prefer a doctor or paramedic of the same gender, but in emergency, the opposite sex can handle it in emergency situations. And their faith in their life.
We pray 5 times a day, and those 5 prayers are spread throughout the day, and they follow the motion of the sun. So we have a prayer just before sunrise early morning, which is called the Fajr prayer. Then we have a prayer at midday when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, which is called the Dhuhr prayer. Then we have an afternoon prayer, which is called Asr. And then we have a prayer just at sunset, which is called Maghrib. And then a nighttime prayer once it's gone dark, which is called Isha. So when we pray as Muslims, you will see that prayer is a number of different motions of the body. So we would be standing, then we're going to bowing, and then going into prostration, which is putting your forehead onto the ground. And the reason why we have these different motions in the prayer is because it shows your servant being a servant of God and worshipping Him. I dress like this mainly because it is something that the Prophet Muhammad, the way that he dressed, but also it makes it easier when it comes to the prayer. When we pray, we're not allowed to show too much of the body, so not a lot of skin. So wearing the long robe helps you to cover that quite easily. Having a beard is something which the Prophet Muhammad, he grew his beard, and at that time generally men had beards. So anything that Prophet Muhammad did, we call it a sunnah. So anything that he did is recommended for us as Muslims to imitate and copy. Friday is the holy day for Muslims, and it's the only day and the only prayer in the week where Muslim adults have to come to the mosque to pray. Men would be praying together and women would be praying together. What we're not allowed is men and women intermingling together, so a man being praying next to a woman. And the reason for that is how naturally the opposite sexes are attracted to each other, and you would lose concentration in the prayer. So if you have the facilities, we would have a prayer hall for men and a prayer hall for women. So on a Friday, we would have the khutbah. The khutbah is a sermon that the Imam delivers, which is a speech reminding the Muslim community about some of the morals.
And that was a video of daily life in Muslim. The questions of interpretation. Islam has no top leader, such as how the Catholic Church has the Pope. So interpretations of what Quran teaches vary widely. An example of this is the Quran's teaching about how women should dress. Some Muslims take this to mean that women should dress modestly and wear a covering for their hair, but other Muslims take this teaching in a more extreme way. For example, the Taliban in Afghanistan decree that women should mostly stay indoors, only go outside if they are accompanied by a male relative, and cover their bodies completely, including their faces, when they leave their homes. Another example is the idea of jihad, which means struggle against the enemies of God. This widely seen to mean that each person will face challenges to their faith that they must overcome personally. However, a small number of Muslims take this to justify terrorist activities against non-Muslims. Islam is a way of life. Their culture is deeply with their life, and religion became culture of their country too. After all of history they have endured, since it contributes their mindset for meals, behaviors, and thoughts, Islam can be only religion for them. Therefore, Islam is comprehensive way of life for them. However, even though it is way of life, people still can force others' belief or thoughts. This is more excited for this presentations. Yeah, thank you for listening.